If you do these three things, you'll raise your profile and probably attract people to you who might have money to invest. Well, you're not boasting, you're not bragging, you're just sharing your journey. Because if someone is going to lend you money, first of all, they need to be aware of you. They need to know you. Maybe you haven't been investing in property 30 years, you can't say that, but maybe you've got some other credibility. Maybe you've run a business for 10 years, or you're a PhD doctor, or you're an accountant. It's about building relationships and trust over time, getting to know people, and seeing if you could help each other. If you want to borrow money from people, first they need to be aware of you. They need to know what you're doing, and also they need to know that you know what you're doing. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Property Magic Podcast, which is all about the importance of raising your personal profile. Now, I mention this because one of the biggest challenges I see people face when they get into property investing is ultimately they run out of their own money. It happens to all investors at some point. And the solution to that is start using other people's money. But for you to be able to use other people's money, people need to know about you. They need to know what you're doing. They need to know that you know what you are doing as well, so their money is safe with you. And so I want to share with you on this podcast episode 3 things you can do to help raise your profile. They're very straightforward. I wouldn't say easy because many people don't do them, but if you do these 3 things, you'll raise your profile and probably attract people to you who might have money to invest. So the first thing you need to do is you need to document your property journey on your social media. What I mean by that is when you go to property networking events, take a selfie of yourself. When you are doing viewings, take a picture of yourself outside the property. When you've actually done a deal, you're doing a refurb, put the before and after pictures to show the transformation you've created on this property. And you need to post this regularly on your social media accounts, your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, whichever accounts you want to do, but you need to post it regularly. Because a little secret here, you may not know, when you post something on your Facebook or your LinkedIn, it doesn't show it to all of your contacts. In fact, it only shows it to a very, very small percentage of your contacts. Because if it showed it to everyone, everyone's feeds would move so quick you wouldn't have a chance to read it. What happens is the algorithms work like this. If people like your comment, if they comment on it, then it shows it to more people. So the more you post, the more likely your contacts are going to see what you're doing. Now, why is this important? Well, I was speaking to one of my masterminders just the other day, one of my graduates, and he called me up, said, Simon, 2 things. I want to really thank you for what you've done. I've got 7 properties I own. I'm managing 3 other people's properties. I've got 10 properties now. Really happy with that. I've left my full-time job. Thank you so much. And I said, well, thank you, but it's down to the work you put in. But he said, I've got a problem. He said, I've run out of my own money. I've used a little bit of other people's money, but I'm struggling to raise finance from people. So I spent a bit of time reminding him about some of the things which we taught him on Mastermind, which he'd forgotten about. Then at the end, I asked him a question. I said, are you posting on social media? Because he's got all these properties, he's got lots of social proof. And he said, oh no, I'm still not doing that. And I understand why. Some people are a bit shy. They don't like to tell other people what they're doing. They feel it might be like they're boasting or something like that. Well, you're not boasting, you're not bragging, you're just sharing your journey. Because if someone is going to lend you money, first of all, they need to be aware of you. They need to know you. Now, I learned this. I was actually speaking at an event in London, and one of the other guest speakers was Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone is the American investor. He talks a lot about this. And then I went to go and see Grant at an event in Birmingham. I went to VIP, and at that event, he spent 40 minutes talking about you need to be known. That's the one message he had from his 40-minute presentation. You need to be known. He explained how he had raised hundreds of millions of pounds for his business, Cardone Capital, purely through his social media. Now, I'm not suggesting you're going to do that, but he said, if you want to borrow money from people, first they need to be aware of you. They need to know what you're doing, and also they need to know that you know what you're doing. So by posting and showing you are getting some success, some traction, that you're going to network, that you're educating yourself, you're learning how to do this properly, people are going to start to become aware and know, as well as doing whatever else you do, what they know you for, this person's now doing this as well. So getting on social media, although it sounds incredibly simple, it's amazing how many people don't do it. And let me give you a little tip. Whenever you do a property related post, I would finish it off with these couple of sentences. I would say something like, and I'm doing this because I'm really excited about my new property business, which is And then you say what the business is. Rather than just saying, I'm in property, because people don't know what that means. They might make assumptions. You're actually very clear and explicit exactly what you're doing. You're saying, my new property business is I help people who need to sell properties quickly, and I help investors get a great return on their money. So let me repeat that. I help people who need to sell property quickly, and I help investors get a great return on their money. That's what your property business is. And at the end of it, you say, if either of those are of interest to you, just let me know. And you will get what we call lurkers. They're people who already know you, already like you, and they trust you, and they're just watching you. They're seeing what you're doing. And you'll be amazed if you keep doing this. My masterminds have reported incredible results where over time, people reach out to them, people who you may even didn't know they had any money, to say, look, I've seen what you're doing. I've got a little bit of money. Can we talk, please? Or maybe they might contact you and say, look, I've got a friend who wants to sell a property. And that seller may or may not be motivated, but it's all good practice speaking to sellers. And you want all your friends, family, contacts to know you as a property expert. Anyone's got a property problem or property question, they should come to you for help. And you might give out some free help and advice, of course. But amongst all of that, you might find some motivated sellers who really want to get rid of their properties. So the first step to raising your profile is telling everyone what you do on social media. And that's particularly people you already know. However, there are lots of people who've got money who you don't know yet, who might be prepared to lend you money or joint venture with you. So how do you get to meet those people? Well, you need to put yourself in the environment where those people hang out. So one of the best things you can do is go to your local property network meeting and go to property training events. And ideally go to paid training events, because if you go to free events, that attracts lots of people who don't have any money because they're free, and there will be some good people there. But you've got to wade through all the people who've got no money to find the people with money. So if you go to paid events, at paid networking events, you're going to have a higher caliber of person. And you're not going to have a queue of people with a badge on saying, I've got money to lend, come and speak to me. It's about building relationships and trust over time, getting to know people and seeing if you can help each other. And the reason someone will lend money to you is because you can make money for them. They're not doing it for charity. They can make money. But to do that, they need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. So get yourself into an environment where you can meet other people who, although you don't know them yet, the good news is they already know about property. They're at a property event because they know how powerful property can be. The problem with family and friends who already know, like, and trust you is maybe they don't know about property, and you have to educate them a bit and overcome some of their fears and concerns. Whereas at a property event, people there understand how good property is, but they might have money, but they don't have time, knowledge, energy, or inclination to find deals for themselves. So finding people at property events with money is a really good way for you to grow your business much quicker than you can on your own. And my third point, which is kind of an addition to the second one really, is when you go to networking and property events, what you need to do is have a prepared elevator pitch. This is a 15 to 20 second statement that you can make telling people what you're doing and how you can help them. You should tell everyone what you're looking for. So for example, mine might be, hi, my name's Simon Zucci. I've been investing in property for 30 years. I live and I'm based in the Midlands, and I'm looking to speak to landlords who want to retire and want to get rid of their properties. I might be able to buy their properties, and especially if they have blocks of flats, that's particularly what I'm looking for, please come and speak to me in the break. So that's what I might say. So I've said who I am, I've established my credibility, and I've said specifically what I'm looking for and who I can help. Maybe you haven't been investing in property 30 years, you can't say that, but maybe you've got some other credibility. Maybe you've run a business for 10 years, or you're a PhD doctor, or you're an accountant. You might have some qualification, some significance. Use other credibility to build your status when you do your elevator pitch. And think about your elevator pitch before you go to it. You don't want to be going to an event and meeting a potential investor and umming and ahhing. You want to be very clear and articulate about what you're looking for and how you can help people. So the opportunity, the third point is seize opportunities when they come. For example, at the Property Investor Network monthly meetings all over the UK, we have an opportunity where anybody, if they want, can stand up for 20 seconds and introduce themselves to the audience. Now, you do not have to do that if you don't want to, and especially if it's your first meeting, you might just want to see how it all goes and understand how it works. But if you're going to second, third, fourth, fifth meeting, or you're a regular, you should absolutely use that golden opportunity to stand up and introduce yourself to everyone in the room. Because if you go to a network meeting with 30, 40 people, you're never going to speak to everyone there. Whereas if you stand up and use that opportunity to raise your profile, everybody in the room gets to know who you are and what you do. And remember, short and sweet is better. 15 to 20 seconds is all you need. And put a call to action in. Put it, come and speak to me. Invite people to engage with you if they're interested in what you've said. And don't stand and say, I'm looking for someone with money. That's a really dumb thing to say, although that might be true. What you should say is something like, I'm finding some amazing opportunities. I'm using mine and other people's money to fund those deals. If that sounds of interest to you, why not come and speak to me? That's much smarter than saying, I'm looking for money, right? So think about what you're saying, write it down, script it, make sure it comes off the tongue so you can think about how you present it and use that opportunity. So there are 3 things you can do there to raise your profile and make sure people are aware of what you're doing. First of all, make sure you're posting on your social media so people know you're investing in property and exactly what that means. Secondly, put yourself in the environment of people who are into property, who might have money at paid training and paid networking events. Thirdly, if you have the opportunity, as you do have at the PIN meetings, to stand up and tell people what you're doing, seize that opportunity, but make sure you're prepared because your first impression will really count, particularly when you're speaking to people who might have money and might want to invest in you. Remember, it's unlikely you're going to meet someone who there and then is going to decide to give you money, but the first impression is important. You need to follow up with people you meet at events, get to build a working relationship, and who knows, you might help each other in the future. So those are my 3 tips to raising your profile. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I am actively looking for landlords who want to sell. If you own blocks of flats or you know people who own blocks of flats, please do contact me. LinkedIn is a great way to get hold of me. And I pay refinder's fees. If you bring someone to me and I end up buying their block of flats, I'll happily pay you a nice finder's fee for your trouble. If you've liked this video, please like the video, come and comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to make sure you're notified anytime a new video comes out. Until next time, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.